documenting was there somebody there from watching all the whole time.
Awesome. We're live, so we'll start in just a minute.
All right, very good.
So, can I show you this real quick? I know it's been a minute since we did this. So I'm going to go to YouTube and then Facebook. Under my account, it's pages I manage. You saw that. I'm only using 2 overlays for this today.
So just the thought of
here. You can invite guests now. So that's an option. What I'm doing for audio is I have all the audio tricks off for now because I don't want to hear them talking with them. HDMI 3 is this camera, so that's how we're getting their microphone feed. So I have that set. And then when I'm ready, I'll switch to them and I'll turn on the audio all at once. So we've got that option. All the comments will be here and settings here. And what I'm doing is I like to go fade out from the graphic to them and then change it to a cut for the rest of the event. Just do hard cuts.
Yes, I
And then what we could do is we could build GIFs.
My copy belongs to skip link on it.
So we could do animated transitions like that.
That'll be easy to see. It's
Cool.
Dwarsh, W-A-R-S-H, Dwarsh.
And for those in the audience, if you'd silence your phones, just like in church and all that, so.
Oh, we charge $25 if you don't.
Well,
If it rings.
yeah, so that'll be charged to your account, so.
No, mine is off, but I was at a
Good afternoon, I'm Dave Molina. I'm the library director here at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. I am subbing for Cecilia Rakusek, who is on the road this week. So with us today, we have Jakub Ketman, who is a PhD student at Palacky University. And Jakub's actually our 4th student from Palacky to serve a residency here. And I should note that with we have a formal relationship with Palacky University where we have an exchange of students coming here to the museum and to the Cedar Rapids community. There's also arrangements with Mount Mercy College and Coe College as well that they're working on. So anyway, we benefit from that relationship, and Jakub is our in a residency here this fall, working in the library. And so I'd like to welcome.
Thank you, David.
Yes, and could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're studying at Palacky, and where you're from originally?
Of course. First, let me say that I appreciate the invitation to your very famous show, and I want to start by introducing my alma mater, Palacky University in Olomouc. Palacky University in Olomouc is the 3rd biggest university in Czech Republic. And it is necessary to say that Czech education system is different than American education system. And the biggest universities in Czech Republic are public. And it means that central government provides them financial resources, and these universities or study at our universities are for free for Czech students and for students from Slovakia. Okay, anyway, Palacky University has 8 different faculties and many different study programs. If you want to study law, medicine, education, theological issues, natural science, you're welcome at Palacky University. But I study a Department of Media and Cultural Studies and Journalism on the Faculty of Arts. The name of the department is a little bit complicated, but basically it is a Department of Journalism, because journalism study program is the dominant study program at our department. Every year, about 100 students come to our department to study journalism. it means that our journalism study program is quite popular alongside with history, psychology, sociology, and theater and movie studies, our faculty. And as I said, I'm a PhD student, but I have a bachelor degree in journalism from Kolach University, and I have a master's degree in media studies at Kolach University. Media studies is a more theoretical study program than journalism. Journalism is more about the practice. It's very necessary to have a practice during your study, journalism study program. Well, and that's all about my university, and maybe something about my research.
But first, you were a journalist before going into graduate school.
Yeah, I worked as a journalist for 5 years. I worked for local, regional newspapers, weekly newspapers in Uherské Hradiště, which is a town in South Moravia. It's near Olomouc, 60 kilometers from Olomouc. And it was a great experience. I was required writing about cultural events and folk festivals. And I used to meet many interesting people which were connected with our cultural heritage. And I had an opportunity to explore all folk culture in South Moravia. I can say something about our cultural heritage because South Moravia is very famous because of wine, because of traditional costumes, kroje, and because of very friendly environment. If we thinking about the cultural heritage in South Moravia, we can talk about 2 points of view. First, it's based on a very special and very huge events for tourists, and these big events are focused maybe more on commercial things, but you can feel the spirit of cultural heritage in these events. A good example is cultural events in Uherské Hradiště. Every year you can visit Moravian Slovakia Festival of Wine and Open Monuments. And you can see thousands of people in kroje. You can taste the different kinds of wine from big wineries to small local production, and you can enjoy the atmosphere, very good atmosphere, and you can see people dancing, singing. It's really good experience for people who want to explore our culture.
And is this something that you find in other parts of Czech Republic, or is it more unique to South Moravia?
This is I think this is unique because Uherské Hradiště is something like a center of our culture, of South Moravian culture, but it's very difficult to describe how rich is our South Moravian culture. But I think it is a unique opportunity to see thousands of people in kroje and to visit many concerts and other events on one place, in one town. So I think, yeah, this is a unique experience.
Yeah. So did you or your family take part in any of these festivals or any cultural activities?
Actually, I own a Kroj, so I was a part of a special crew which was responsible for organize folk events like Hode or Mardi Gras, or many others. But few years ago, I had to stop this activity because I've started to study my PhD, and I have other obligations. But my brother, he's really interested in folk culture. He's also a part of a dancing group, and he loves everything which is connected with our cultural heritage. And it's really nice to see somebody who enjoy this experience. Well, yeah, so it's my family. My parents are also very based on the culture. They're interested in our culture, of course. Not a problem. But in Czech Republic, especially in our village, cultural heritage, it is a dominant field for young generations.
So that's something they identify with. Even though we're in the 21st century, it's something that this folk culture still exists, and they actively take part in then?
Yes, I would say yes. But it's still harder and harder to preserve our cultural heritage and transform it to next generations. Because young people, they want to leave their home and to gain some experience from the world.
Sure.
But on the other hand, we have a new tool, social media, and we can use it to create a new groups of people who are interested in cultural heritage of folk culture. So it's not necessary to be connected with your village, with your roots. You can find people who has the same hobby thanks to social media. So I think it will be good. It will be good.
So it gives you a new audience then?
Yes, audience and active participants. Well, yeah.
So give us a sense of place. You know what South Moravia looks like. What some of the, if there's any agriculture. You said wine is one of the things that's known for.
I come from very rural area. It doesn't mean poor, but very rural area, and we are dependent on tradition. So yes, we are dependent on agriculture. Everybody has own garden with potatoes, tomatoes, and other things. It's very funny. And what is very important for our culture is Roman Catholic religion. You can find church, a chapel, in every village, and usually the church is a center of a village. Not only we think about a place, but it's a center for a culture, because Roman Catholic religion is very strong in Southern Moravia, and it's very important for people to meet each other during masses and other religion events. And this is an essential thing of our
So some of the festivals are centered around Roman Catholic feast days or other
Yeah.
things connected with the liturgical calendar or something like that.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you can visit many religion events, especially during Christmas or Easter. It's a very common thing.
Very good. Well, so you're a PhD student. So tell us what you're studying in particular at Polocki University, and then we can kind of also talk about what you're doing here.
Okay, yeah. It'll be complicated to explain what is my specialization, but I deal with journalism, media, and history. But my PhD dissertation is focused on professional identity of journalists. I want to explore who are journalists in Czech Republic, what they are thinking about, what is their political attitude, what they think about their mission in our society, and many other questions.
These
so
are more
like,
contemporary journalists.
Yes,
then?
contemporary
Okay.
journalists. But I have to do a little research of history of journalism, because the position of journalists during history has changed, and it's necessary to know how the position of journalists were developed, and yeah.
I imagine during the 20th century you had the Czechoslovak Republic. Then there was the experience of being under Nazi occupation, followed by 41 years of communism, and then again freedom. So that makes a complicated, though very interesting, I would think, environment for journalism.
Right, right. There are many topics we can explore, and you're right. The position of journalists in communist era was different than position journalists during 19th century. Journalists in the 19th century were they were more writers and they were artists. It was very interesting to explore the position or professional identity of journalists. Yeah, so that's my main field of study during my PhD. But here in the United States is different, because I have opportunity to explore not only journalists, but I can explore their attitude and their content connected with Czech immigrants, which is very important for me.
So many of these journalists were immigrants themselves, but living in America. So have you seen any changes in the writing styles or their point of view from say the Europeans to those living in America?
Yes. Czech immigrant journalists were hardly experienced in journalism, how to make newspapers, journals. They were amateurs. And sometimes it's funny to read their articles, because you can find serious information about the society, and it is more like some opinion. It is sometimes the story or article is not based on facts. It's and also the language is different. Sometimes it's very difficult for me to understand the language of all the articles.
So the Czech language has changed that much in the last 100 plus years then? Or you're dealing with amateurs who are writing perhaps in a more regional kind of a voice or something like that?
The reason why I have a problem to understand them is a mixture of these reasons. The problem is also that they came from Czech Republic, or not Republic. They came from Bohemia, from Austro-Hungarian Empire, and they preserved the language which they learned in old Bohemia, and their it's how to explain it.
So it's kind of preserved some of these antiquated sayings or old usages then of the language then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh, yeah. You're right.
So, but you're going to be writing like a research article that would be for publication. So tell us about what what you hope to include in that article.
Yes. Many experts from field of history, journalism, and other study fields are focused on the era of immigration during communist era in Czech Republic, so from 1948 to 1989. But I want to explore previous time era, especially era of World War I, which is very interesting from my point of view. And I have decided to explore Czech Roman Catholic immigrant journals, newspapers, and I want to explore their attitude to a movement for the independence of Bohemia during World War I. I have to explain it. There are two groups of people who created a movement for the independence of Bohemia. The first group was located in exile in Paris and then in London, and was led by people like Masaryk or Beneš or Stefanik. And the other group operated inside of Austria-Hungarian Empire. And this group was led by people like Karel Kramar or Alois Rašín. And what is important, the press inside of Austro-Hungarian Empire, Czech press, was under control of central government, and there wasn't that freedom of speech.
Sure.
But in the United States, the situation was different. I know that during World War I, the freedom of speech was limited here in the United States, but it was definitely better than in Bohemia. And Czech immigrant press could write about freedom of Czech nation. So I can compare different attitudes of different religion groups and political groups. Important is that freethinkers and Protestants and these more liberal groups, they fully supported the movement for the independence of Bohemia. But Roman Catholics, I can say that they were against new state for Czechs and Slovaks, but their support to a new state was really weak. And I want to explore their attitude to the movement. And maybe I can share with you reasons why the Roman Catholics' approach was different than other groups. The main character of the movement was Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk. And a lot of people know him as a popular and famous president of Czechoslovakian Republic. But before that, he was something like an enemy of the people. I don't know if you know a story of Leopold Hilsner.
Blood libel, a Jew who was
Yes.
falsely acclaimed of killing a young woman.
Right, and after a short investigation, the murder of the young woman was connected with Jewish ritual murder, and from one day to the next, a lot of people from Czech society hated Jewish, and they blamed Jewish community of ritual murders, and they were afraid of them. And you can imagine that Roman Catholics didn't miss the opportunity to blame a Jewish community of ritual murders, and Roman Catholic press helped to reinforce anti-Semitic feelings in Czech population. But Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, he was a leader, something like a leader of a group of people who wanted to explain Czech nation that evidence of ritual murder, Jewish ritual murder, was a lie, and the trial with Leopold Hilsner wasn't objective and was neutral, and it was manipulated.
Sure.
So you can imagine the relationship between Roman Catholics and Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, and this is the reason why I want to explore the Roman Catholic presence in the United States, because Roman Catholics were really they stood against Masaryk till 1917. So that's the reason I want to do it. So, yeah.
But they eventually did come around. Is that correct? They did support independence.
Yes. When the United States of America entered to war, the Roman Catholics they couldn't be neutral. They had to create a new attitude to the Germans. Germans were enemies, and to a new state, because they clearly saw an opportunity to create a new state, but they were afraid of the situation, a new state, and their fear was based on the fact they were afraid of that they wouldn't lose the dominant role of Roman Catholic religion in new state. So basically,
well, and also the Austro-Hungarian emperor was the defender of Catholicism throughout the whole empire. So that's another, if they would sever ties with the emperor, they would not have kind of some protection, I guess, perhaps, or sponsorship, or in that regard as well.
Right. Yeah.
So this will result in an article.
I hope so. That's
yeah. So you're just conducting research at this point.
Okay. It's very difficult to talk about the results of my project, my analyze. But I can clearly see shapes of the results, and it's funny because Roman Catholics in their press, they were very offensive to Masaryk. They used a very special variant of his name. They used Masaryk instead of Masaryk. It's based on old myth. It doesn't matter. It's not important. You know. And they tried to be neutral during the World War I. And on the other hand, they supported Russia and pan-Slavic attitude. They wanted to create a new Slavic empire with leading role of Russia. That's strange. Yeah, but they changed the opinion in 1970. Yeah.
So, so shifting opinions over the course of time, then.
Right,
Very good. So, moving on. So you've been here for a little over a month. Have you had a chance to explore the area here in Iowa?
Yes. I'm glad that I could see many essential things for Iowa. It's really interesting to see fields around Cedar Rapids, of course, but I prefer real nature, and I visited Effigy Mounts a couple of weeks ago, and I was impressed by a view of Mississippi River. It's a really huge river, and yeah, I realized how important has been for American culture for Americans. And I had an opportunity to see some kind of art because I visited Museum of Art, and you have art treasure in your museum. It was really good, and maybe the biggest experience or greatest experience, I was at a football game, American football game on Saturday in Iowa City. Wow, it was great. I saw a full stadium full of people, 70,000 people.
Yes.
I think. Wow, I was very impressed, and it was great to see American football.
Well, very good.
Yeah.
So we're coming up on elections here. I don't know if you've had any opportunity as a journalist to observe some of the the conversations that or the political ads that some of the political parties have put out, or anything. Any have you had a chance to kind of observe that a bit, and what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah.
How does it differ from what's in Czech Republic?
We have not enough time to compare our political system and your political system, but basically there are some things which surprised me. First, I have to say that Americans are really brave, because there's some kind of tradition that Americans declare their support to some candidates, openly declared. You can see flags and some other signs in yards of houses. It's not common in Czech Republic, very unusual. So that surprised me. And I would say that I'm looking for election day. I'm not sure if I have had some good opportunities to explore everything about political campaign. So I hope I will enjoy election day, and this is essential for me.
Well, very good. So, there any other things that you'd like to accomplish in your time here? at the museum or here in Iowa before you go back?
I don't know. I hope I will visit some university or university in the United States, because I want to see your system of education of journalists. It's, because I think journalists in the United States are really good. You have a high quality journalism. And I hope I will meet your professors of journalism and media studies, and I hope I will learn something new about journalism here in the United States.
Well, very good. Well, I think we've covered a lot of territory in our time here. I thank you very much for talking with us, and wish you well in the rest of your time here.
Thank you. Thank you, David.